Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Aussie Brony, and today I will be reading the 6th chapter of The Changeling and the Pony. I have once again forgotten to see who actually wrote it. I really should stop doing that, it's very unprofessional, but then again, I don't know. Yeah, I really suck at remembering stuff, so I'm going to start the reading in a minute. So yeah, if you enjoy the video, like, comment and subscribe. Yeah, I'll see you in a minute. It wasn't long before the disguised changeling came down towards the house he figured must be Fluttershy's cabin. He looked to the mailbox, yes that's what it was, and saw the words painted on it in bright pink and yellow. He couldn't read the strange symbols though, and simply figured by the colours that this was her place. If he could read the mailbox, it would have said Fluttershy. Darkhorn walked towards the wooden cabin, and when it... what's going on? Sorry about that, guys. Let's see, where was I? Oh yeah. And it was quite different from the other places he'd seen around town. Sure, it was just as horribly colourful as the other buildings, but now he looked at it, the cabin was like a painting. Something out of a garden party in Canterlot or something. It had a picket fence, a moat, trees, nests, flowers, and all the works. Though usually her house was covered in colours like green and purple, at this time of year the leaves were hue of brown and orange. He walked towards the cabin, looking for her and calculating how he was going to handle this. He didn't have enough energy to attack her again. So he would have to stick to the original plan of stealing it with deception. This was the usual way they stole love at the moment, and at the moment it was the safest route he had. Right now he was getting weaker to the point where he might have just passed out of starvation. The little bit of emotions from Spike wasn't enough to sate him for too long. The changeling's appetite was ferocious. They were always hungry and always had to consume. Darkhorn peeked around the house, knowing that Rainbow Dash mentioned something about her being in the backyard. At first he didn't see anything in the grass-covered plain, until the sound of something buzzing got his attention. He peered to the left a little more until he found a pretty beehive. He knew what a beehive was. He'd seen several of them in farms. A little more to the left he was able to see her, The yellow Pegasus with the pink mane, she or Fluttershy, was talking to the bees. He heard bits and pieces of what she was saying over the buzzing, but didn't really care about her words and paid no attention to them. He was more focused on how close she was. Finally, after all this annoyance, the mare he hated most of all was right there within reach. Oh, if he was only a little stronger, he would just finish her off right now. Fluttershy was sitting near the bees. For some reason, she wasn't being attacked or stung. She had another flower basket. How many did she have anyway? With her, and she was handing some bright. I think that means handle. I'm supposed to say handling. Handling some brightly coloured flowers in them. Here you go, little bees, she said in the soft tone he remembered so well. There's plenty of pollen for everyone. Be sure to make plenty of honey this year for me, and do it for yourselves too. Don't want you to starve this winter, my friends. I'd hate to see that. He watched as the swarm swirled around her head so fast it made her hair flick. She let out a giggle, not an annoying one like Pinky's, but something like a dainty laugh, and smiled to the insects. You're welcome. I think you're sweet too. He only blinked at her. Talking to bugs, she's really weird. Then again, who am I to judge? Suddenly he started to hum. Uh, oh, Suddenly he started to hum a little to them. In comparison to Pinkie Pie, this tune wasn't hyper or oh. She started to hum to them a little tune to them. In comparison to Pinkie Pie, again, this tune wasn't hyper or happy, but rather relaxed and soothing. He leaned his head against the wooden wall of the cabin he was hiding behind. His ears perked and listened to the melody. For some reason, this song made something swell inside his chest. It was a smooth wave of calmness he'd never felt before, except when maybe sleeping. Somehow it was affecting him, and he didn't know why. He closed his eyes and started to drift off, getting lost in the notes. The mayor was I don't know what that word is. Just when he was about to remain that way for a while, he shook himself out of the trance. He had no idea what had come over him in those few moments. He realized how much he had absolutely hated his tingly feeling in his abdomen and her song. It was so sweet, so calm, so precious and cute. It was disgusting. He'd riveted at the idea he actually considered drifting off into her song and became rather embarrassed by it. Focus, he encouraged himself. Come on, you have to focus on what you're going to do. This target will be easy. It'll take no time, but it'll take time, but it'll be worth it. Now how to approach her. He was so distracted thinking that he didn't notice a familiar bunny come along until he bumped right into his leg. An angel had been busy getting some more flowers for Fluttershy and hadn't been looking where he'd been going. Normally the rabbit wouldn't help with chores like feeding bees extra this time of year. But he had just gotten over his injuries thanks to Fluttershy. He figured he owed more to her than usual. The bunny fell down, dropping the flowers he was carrying. After he rubbed his head a few times, he looked up to the ominous Alcorn glaring down at him. He definitely remembered the stupid white bunny. For a moment, Angel seemed confused, until a peculiar scent hit him. It was the Alcorn before him. But what was weird is that he didn't smell like a pony at all. Instead, he smelt really different and familiar. The way he glared up at him, and the way he glared at him with those ice blue iris, Angel's black eyes withered in horror, and his sixth sense helping him realize who it really was, or rather what. The bunny bounced to his feet and hopped frantically to Fluttershy. Darkhorn tried to stop him with his arm, but Angel was too fast and scurried right past him. A very unpony-like growl escaped his chest when Angel reached the yellow filly and began tugging on her mane like he did when Darkhorn first encountered them. Fluttershy jumped as if a snake had bitten her. Ow! Angel, you really have to stop doing that. Then she turned to face him. He was really starting to hate that rabbit. Fluttershy blinked a few times at the stranger before her, and then immediately bowed his head bowed her head from him. Her long hair covered most of her face. Excuse me, I didn't see you there. And her voice trailed off into a squeak so quiet not even Changeling could understand her. Just like when she had first met Twilight, Fluttershy was, shy around this new pony and kept her gaze on the ground. What made it even more embarrassing was that he must have had heard her humming to the bees. She pawed the ground nervously with her hoof. Hi, she whispered. Did you hear any of that? Darkhorn cocked his head. Yes, he said bluntly. Did you like it? She still didn't look at him. He was very sensitive around her she was very sensitive about her singing. As usual, only animals heard it. And as usually, not only animals heard it, not ponies. The stallion in front of her just shrugged but didn't answer. Oh, she pawed the ground more, but Angel was pulling at her leg. Angel Bunny, what's the matter? Angel pointed frantically at the alicorn and was jumping up and down. Yes, Angel, I see him. The bunny shook his head at her and was desperately trying to show that this stain wasn't what he seemed. When Darkhorn walked a little closer to them, the bees suddenly retreated back into their beehive. Getting a little nervous that she might catch on, he interrupted the bunny's antics by saying very loud, My name's Darkhorn, what's yours? He already knew her name, but he had to keep up the ruse that they had never met. Fluttershy bowed her head a little more and squeaked something. The Changeling leaned closer. What was that? She moved her face so that her hair was covering half of it and muttered something, but she still was too hard to hear, and she was still avoiding eye contact. I still don't understand. He leaned a bit closer. She finally said it loud enough this time. Fluttershy. Fluttershy. When she looked from the ground back to him and realized he was only a few inches from her face, she immediately recoiled from him. Sorry. She pawed the grass more and was trying to hide her face. She was obviously very bashful around him. It's nice to meet you, Darkhorn. She drew her gaze back up at him, her cyan eyes peeking through her, I don't know what that is, coloured mane. If I may say so, you look kind of familiar. Have we met? He bit his lip. No, we haven't. I was just stopping by because I'm new here, and this cabin looks different from the other buildings, and I was just curious. He was a bad liar, but Fluttershy was trusting. Well, she lifted her head back up and said gently, You caught me in the middle of feeding the bees. You see, you have to be extra kind to them, else the honey won't be as sweet. It's a trick I was taught by Granny Smith down at Apple Acres. Angel pulled at her more, but she gently pulled her leg back. Now, Angel, I'm talking to our guest. He kinda nodded, not really caring. He's never even tasted that nasty honey stuff. At this time of year, I sell honey after Applejack and her family is done selling their apple cider. It's my own little hobby, and the bees and I really enjoy it. Every other pony also seems to like it too. She turned her head to glance over her shoulder, but they've been taken care of for now, and I still need to feed the other animals. He stopped seemingly hesitating. I know we've never met before, but for some reason, if you don't mind me saying, I feel pretty comfortable around you. Her expression brightened. Would you like to help me feed the animals, if that's okay? He thought for a moment. Her trust, it was so innocent, so native, so weak. This would be easier than he thought. She'd be too distracted with these stupid animals. Sure. He took another step towards Fluttershy, but Angel stomped on his hoof. It didn't hurt, but it was enough to startle the Changeling and cause him to yelp. Angel then hopped back and blocked his path from Fluttershy, looking up at him sternly. Darkhorn glared right back. They both stood there, trying to intimidate each other, and Fluttershy pulled Angel back. Angel, that's very rude, she scolded. You shouldn't stomp on any pony's hoof, especially not a guest. The bunny frowned and pointed to Darkhorn, trying to tell her something, but she shook her head. No, Angel, that was a very mean thing to do. She put him down and gave him a stern look. You think about what you've done, Mr. Bunny. She turned slightly and gestured to Darkhorn. I'm sorry about that. Usually Angel behaves himself around guests. Really? I don't think that's quite a word I would use. She started leading him away to the yard. Darkhorn nodded and followed. It's okay, I'm sure he didn't mean it. He said the last few words sinisterly, looking down at the smug smile with a smug smile to Angel. He knew the rabbit knew his secret, and Fluttershy was none the wiser. Angel gave him a warning stare, but Darkhorn pushed him over onto his backside and continued after her, his eyes flashing green brightly. Angel looked on with a worry as he struggled to get back to his feet. Fluttershy walked over and picked up what seemed to be a bag of birdseed. She ripped it open with her teeth and took some with her hoof. "This is for my little feathered friends. You like animals, don't you?" He gave her a shifty look. Yeah." She nodded and scattered the seeds in front of her. Almost immediately, a group of colourful birds flew down from the trees and began pecking at the food. Fluttershy gave a small giggle. "Aren't they cute when they eat?" She didn't wait for him to answer, as she just tugged the bag to him. "Go ahead, Darkhorn." He looked from her to the bag seed, regretting getting involved. He picked up a hoofful of birdseed. When he walked towards the birds to give them some, the birds looked to him and immediately started chirping and squawking in fear. Then they all fled from them and hid away in the trees, terrified. Fluttershy put a hoof in her mouth. "Oh my, I've never seen them so rifled up before. It must be the storm coming that has them on edge." She looked to Darkhorn apologetically as he dropped the birdseed. "I'm so sorry about this. I have no idea what's gotten into the animals today." The Alcorn only shrugged again. "Guess I'm just intimidating to them." But he couldn't help but let a smile slip from her view. He liked the idea of being scary to others. Usually everyone was afraid of his mother rather than her minions. Fluttershy turned from him. "Well, I'm going to see if I can persuade them to come back. Maybe they just need to get used to you, is all." While she was turned, he decided it was time to strike. Darkhorn moved up behind her, and his horn began to glow. There was so much love she held, it would just be so easy to take some. His eyes began to glow with his horn, and when suddenly, "Fluttershy!" He cursed himself as he backed off from her. The yellow mare turned around to meet Rainbow Dash flying down to them. "Hey!" She opened her mouth to say more, but then stopped and looked at Darkhorn for a "Sup, you must be the new punty. Name's Rainbow Dash." Then went right back to Fluttershy as if he wasn't there. "Listen, I need help. It's Tank." The Changeling rolled and had to keep from rolling his eyes. "These ponies are crazy." Fluttershy frowned. "Oh no, what's wrong with the little tortoise?" Rainbow looked around. He has a stomach ache." "Yeah, that's it. He's got a stomach ache and needs help." "Poor thing. Where is he?" Fluttershy asked. Dash pointed towards the cabin. "I dropped him off in there. I hope you don't mind. I just didn't know where else to put him." "That's quite alright. Let's go in." Fluttershy hovered with Rainbow and went back towards her cabin. Darkhorn stomped his hoof angrily into the ground and followed after to see where the commotion was. Fluttershy. Wait, no. Oh. Rainbow led Fluttershy to her cabin's front door. Darkhorn just behind them, and opened it with one of her hooves. It was dark inside. "He's in there," she said. Fluttershy walked in and were unable to see much. "Hello? Tank?" She leaned over and turned her light switch on. Wait, they have electricity? Okay. To which her 4 other pony friends jumped out. "Surprise!" they all shouted in unison. At first Fluttershy squealed in surprise, but then joy. "Guys, you remembered." "Of course we did, silly." Pinkie Pie gestured at the brightly lit banner that said, "You're all better. After you got out of the hospital, we just had to throw you a party to celebrate your better health." Yeah, sorry I had to lie to get you in here, Rainbow said sheepishly. I just didn't want to spoil the surprise. The yellow Pegasus smiled as her friends gave her a group hug, which made the Changeling gag. Before he could hide, though, Pinky noticed him and pulled the Alicorn inside. Darky, there you are. You're just in time to join the party. She gave him a death hug that he was barely able to pull out of. Twilight popped some confetti. Good to see you here, new guy. He didn't know what to do now, but he couldn't escape. But he couldn't escape with them all looking at him. He did, however, notice Angel trying to hop inside and warn the others about him. Fluttershy might have not been able to figure it out, but the others might. He kicked the door closed in front of Fluttershy, causing the bunny to hit it with a flat thud. No one noticed though as Pinky cranked up her boombox. Let's get this party started. She jumped around and ran to a corner of the room with a bat. I get first swing at the pinata. Rainbow put her arm around Darkon and forced him to smile and forced him to follow. Come on, this'll be fun. Uh-oh. Outside, the white bunny rabbit was recovering from a dizzy headache after he he took a door to the face. When his head stopped ringing, he could hear the music pumping from his owner's cabin, and the ponies partying inside. Angel knew that they were with that horrible changeling that attacked Fluttershy, and no one could see it. And now there was no way for him to warn them. Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed that reading. If you did, like, comment and subscribe. I should be... it hasn't really been that... well, it's been a bit boring, kind of, you could say, so far. But, yeah, it will definitely be getting... but soon it will be getting better. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment and subscribe for more.